All right, so here we are at step 3, and it's been an exciting journey so far, even though we're just in the planning process. And if you don't know what I mean why we're at step 3 and you haven't seen step 1 or 2, make sure you go to the links below this and you start with those, the I'm back, or excuse me, I'm leaving, the I'm back, the step 2 video, all that stuff, because that's really gonna catch you up to where we're at. And I just kind of zoom fast forward. We're on a personal journey right now for this year and this year of our lives. Not so much 2013 or 14, but the year of our age. So for me, it's 31, and that's exactly why this is the Mission 31. But if you're watching this, you probably have already tuned in, or you probably already jumped on board and got on the mission with us, and I appreciate you. I really do. So let's keep moving. I haven't got to you a couple days. Some of it was the craziness of being in the gym, but some of it is I want to give you some time to sit and think and not just rush about trying to get something done in one night. Sometimes our schedules don't permit that, and this is very important. This whole thinking process and planning process is to some degree more important than the action. Now obviously you can't do anything without action, but planned action will always get you further. So let's move forward. Let's recap real quick, okay? We've talked about a few things now. We've talked about last year, what we accomplished, what were failures, and what were the habits that gave us either one of those, right? Well, it's time to start thinking about this year. And we talked a little bit about this. And if you haven't figured this out, that's what needs to happen next, is you need to figure out your why. What's motivating you, okay? And this is the part where I'm gonna start opening up my personal journey and as an example, hopefully as an inspiration, so you can see where we're really trying to go with this. So here's my why. I can tell you a couple of things that go with my why. Number one, I really feel that I was giving the skills and went through the trials and tribulations I did to help build leaders. So for me, it's very important to build leaders. So obviously we do that on the basketball court, and that's the premises behind our basketball training. That's what I'm trying to do now, is I help you build yourself personally, is I want to see you become a leader and influence more, because leadership's all about influence, okay? But then it also comes down to, can I create a legacy that my family will always remember, that my family will always can be proud of, that they can live and grow from even when I'm gone. You see, my father passed away when I was young. I was probably 12 or 13, and there was no legacy left behind. Now, obviously, he wasn't achieving the things we're doing in this world, and he had his own issues, and that's why he died so young. But my point is, there was no legacy left behind. And maybe I live in a little bit of a fear that this could happen to me any day, and I realize that any moment life could be gone. So I want to leave this legacy, and how I'm going to do it is build leaders. So that's my overall why. Now what I need to do, and this is what we need to do, is we need to find goals that lead you to this. Because obviously things like leaving a legacy and building leaders, you don't just poof, one action and it's done. It's a constant process that's also a progression. So for me, now it's time to find the goals that are immediate or right now, short-term, mid-term, long-term, that can help me accomplish my why. So I'm gonna give you some examples here. And there's 3 kind of goals we're gonna set here, okay? There's 3 kind of goals. Number 1 is our health. And you're like, well, health, what's that to do with leaders? Okay, let me help you understand something. And I told you this on, I believe, the I'm Back video, that I've worked so hard in building what I've done, but I've neglected self. And I'm nowhere out in bad health. I think I'm in still pretty good health, especially for being 31. However, I know it can be better, and I know if my health is better, my performance is gonna be better. And that's super important to me. So I'm making a health goal, okay? I'm making a professional goal. Now, I understand that some of you could make a real professional goal. Some of you are in your careers. Some of you are younger basketball players that have just jumped on this mission. So when I say professional, and it's you, you're one of these younger players that plays basketball, then make a basketball goal or something that you're heavily involved in. And maybe you're not a pro, but you get the point here, okay? And the last one's personal. Because I think we spend too many times making the goals on the professional or creating money or creating this. You know, you got to think of goals that are going to make you happy in life as well. And that's where personal comes from. So I'm going to share a little bit of mine. Now, some of this, I still need to do some research for health. I'm actually waiting for a caliber that's going to measure this. But I'm going to drop my body fat percentage to a certain degree, as well as add 10 pounds of muscle. Now you say, well, coach, that doesn't necessarily make you fit. Well, actually, in my situation, yeah, it will make me very fit. But I'm quantifying a goal that will lead to better health. If I drop percentages, and I don't know, let's say, hypothetically, I don't know without measuring yet, but let's say I'm at 10% body fat and I drop down to 5 and I add 10 pounds of muscle, that's an extreme turnover in health. And the things I'm gonna have to do to get to that, the cardio, the weight training, the healthy eating, things like that, that's gonna be very difficult. Well, I make a big transformation. Professional, I coach a varsity girls team at Castle Hills here in San Antonio, and professionally, I want to win a state championship. It's been a dream of mine, it's been a goal of mine, it's been something I've wanted to see happen for a long period of time. And if you think about it, if I'm winning state championships, I'm definitely building leaders. You can't win at a high level without high leadership. So that's going to be my professional goal. That personal goal, you see, we live in a home right now as far as me and my family, but we rent it, and it's time for us to start owning, and there's some things that we got to do to knock out of the way so that we can own our own home. What family doesn't dream of that, right? So we're going to own home. We'll just keep it simple, okay? So this is what you need to do. This is your step one. This is your homework assignment number one, is figure out a health goal, professional goal, and a personal goal, okay? Figure that out, figure out what it is. Now here's the second part behind it, and this is where a lot of people fail. And this is your homework, and this is step two, and I'm only gonna give you 2 steps because this involves a lot of thinking. I'm actually gonna give you 2 days to figure this out. Here's step 2. Remember those habits that we talked about? Okay, and I'm gonna put just HPP, those are our goals. You need to look at those habits that you've already assessed and say, are they feeding this and helping this? Or are they hurting? What are they doing? And you need to look at that, and you need to make that assessment. So now it's not only just about, are those goals, do we need to change them to be happier from last year, but now do we need to change, add, or remember we talked about substitute any of those habits so that we can accomplish these goals. And then I would also just in general, take those 3 goals without maybe even personally assessing ourselves, and just write a list of the things that are going to happen for you to accomplish those. Now I'm going to use the health real quick for an example, okay? So 1, I eat poorly. I'll just be flat honest. I told you to be very transparent through this whole journey. Because I'm on the move sometimes and I'm running from here to there, I really don't make the best selections when I'm on the road, or when I'm at the places I'm at. I could pick something better on the menu, and that's number 1 thing that's going to happen for me, is I'm going to actually have to eat better. Okay. Second thing for me is going to be that I'm going to need to sleep a couple more hours a night. I'm working very hard right now, and because of that, I don't get much sleep. So sometimes I get into the gym and I don't have the energy to really give the exertion that I need. And I'm going to have to work hard in the weight room right now. The other side of it is just schedule weight room, or schedule cardio, schedule whatever it is that I need to work on that day, because sometimes I also may have 4 or 5 workouts with players where I'm training them, and yeah, I'm active, but I'm not really training my body. I'm just getting a little bit of exercise, and I need to discipline myself. So these are 3 things that are going to be important to my health goal. You need to find the components, because then you got to find ways to add them into what you're doing. So here's homework assignments recap. Number one is you need to figure out a health, personal, and a professional goal that you want to accomplish for this year. Number 2, what are the habits that it's going to take to accomplish that, and are you personally doing it? What ones need to be subtracted? And remember, we can't just subtract, but we have to substitute. So what habits need to be subtracted, and what habits need to be substituted in for those ones we subtracted? And start with that. Listen, I'm not going to come to you for a couple more days. I may send you something just to kind of inspire you, to help motivate thought as you go through this, but I really want you to spend a couple days just thinking about this and soaking this in and asking yourself these questions. I'm going to tell you what, the best way to find answers is to ask questions. Ask yourself, what do I want? What's important in health? What's important professionally? What's important? Be very specific on what you want. And almost more than likely, the goal you set is probably not going to be defined enough the first, second, or third time you figure it out. So every time you figure out one of these goals, I want you to say, be more specific, and be more specific. Because the more you can laser beam focus exactly what you want, the better chance, you have of it becoming true. So that's your goal. You have 2 days to get it done. When I come back, It'll be probably Wednesday, and then we're going to start scheduling a plan and putting our habits into our daily schedule, so that by Friday when it hits and we start day one of the mission, we're rocking and rolling with the plan that all we have to do is plug into place. We're not having to figure things out. We're not missing days, slacking. We're just doing what we're supposed to be doing, was moving forward by taking planned action. So that's the video for today. Get to work. If you have questions, leave comments on this blog, leave comments on this if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is. I want to interact with more. And again, like I said last video, let's tell others, because it's one thing to take something like this and build ourselves. It's another thing to go and share and let others know the power of what's going on and influence them to take control of their lives as well. So with that being said, take care and God bless.